Iannarelli, former FBI special agents, 20 plus years with the Bureau, has been watching along with us. The bizarreness of Eric Adams' political speech aside, John, what struck 10, 12 hours in, it seems like we know precious little about what happened.
You're right. We do know very little about what happened, yet they're making pronouncements already. It's not terrorism. Yet we don't know who the shooter is. We don't know what the motivation is. A lot of work's got to be done yet before we can be specific as to why this happened, and more importantly, prevent it from happening again. Remember, that person's still out there. We don't want to see another one of these events tomorrow.
No, and that's where you go. The NYPD said they were doubling the amount of officers they have in subway stations, both for the evening commute tonight and then for the morning commute tomorrow. You can't cover all of the stations, and you think about all of the things that seem to go wrong here. The camera's not working, not being able to identify somebody for 10 or 11 hours. You got very lucky that there was nobody killed in this, and there seems to be this sort of lack of intensity. You heard the FBI agent talk, the special assistant in charge of the New York field office. He said, well, we're happy nobody got hurt in this event. I'm not understanding the lack of sort of intensity about this could have been somebody who's planning another attack. We need to stop them before they do.
They certainly got lucky today, but remember, that luck still got a number of people injured, seriously wounded, others trampled in the escape, etc. More importantly, law enforcement should not be based on luck. It should be based on hard work. Now, I'm sure the FBI is trying to not get people alarmed, and that's part of what they're saying. But welcome to law enforcement in New York City in the 21st century, where these things are happening partially because we downplayed the importance of law enforcement. This has got to be another wake-up call for the city. It's time for the mayor to put the resources on the street and keep people safe.
Yeah, Eric Adams, at least in his discussion, talked a lot more about gun control than he did about anything regarding the police. It was difficult to hear him at times because they were trying to record him off a Zoom call that he came into the meeting on. What do you make, John, of what we know about the suspect and what we don't? Frank James, person of interest, 62 years old, Wisconsin and Philadelphia addresses, this bag of fireworks, the gasoline that was allegedly brought, the smoke grenades, multiple extended magazines to a Glock semi-automatic weapon. This wasn't just sort of random street violence in the subway of somebody shooting somebody or somebody pushing somebody onto the subway tracks or chasing a woman down. This was a long premeditated attack.
Yeah, all the things you've mentioned is bad enough, but here's somebody who apparently put a little time and forethought into this, and thank goodness he was not more successful. My understanding is the weapon jammed. He left behind that bag of items that could have caused a lot more damage. The smoke bombs alone, even though they're not lethal, they cause panic. People flee and trample one another. These are the kind of things that I bet as the investigation goes on, we're going to see neighbors saying, yeah, there was something amiss about this guy. They're going to be looking at his computers, seeing what kind of research he was doing, what his methodology might have been. And also, most importantly, did he have any help? Yeah. Was anybody motivating him to encourage him to commit these kind of acts? Law enforcement needs to get to the bottom of that.
And before you get to any of that, you got to get to where this guy is. We have somebody who shot up a New York City subway car. Obviously, you do that trying to kill a number of people simply because you're either a bad shot or the subway car stops and your weapons jammed doesn't make that desire any less real. I'm thinking now we're 10 hours away from the attack. You draw a ring around New York, as the FBI does. Every hour, that ring just keeps getting bigger and bigger.
Well, the FBI is going to be looking at all logical location this person might be. They're going to be looking at everybody he knows, relatives, friends, family, etc., as is New York City Police and other law enforcement resources. Just because he got away for the short run doesn't mean he's getting away. They're going to do everything.
It does. I'm going, though, to this is somebody who's intent on killing large numbers of people, put some forethought into it, buying smoke grenades, buying extended magazines. You have to wonder, is Boston next? Is Washington, D.C. next? These are all questions that I'm assuming the FBI is asking right now.
Absolutely. They want to keep people safe. And I would suggest if anybody knows this individual, has any idea of what he might be up to contact law enforcement, because law enforcement wants to bring him in. They don't want it to end tragically, but law enforcement wants to stop him so nobody else gets hurt. It's in his best interest to either contact the police himself or anybody that knows him and knows his whereabouts to let the police know.
What do you make of how sort of careful the NYPD was in talking about this? They kept saying this is a person of interest, but they would not make the connection to him being a suspect.
I think NYPD and New York City in general is just very careful about saying anything these days, because first of all, we've lived under a couple of years of no one's committing a crime anymore, that everything's okay, but they're also worried about liability of mislabeling somebody. And certainly we don't want to mislabel anybody ever. But at the same time, there is a responsibility to the public to let the public know what the danger is to keep the public safe.
Well, right. And you got to let the public know who they're out looking for now, 10 hours after somebody tried to commit mass murder and failed. Real quickly, this is the police commissioner of New York, who earlier said they didn't think it was terrorism, now has changed her feelings. Take a listen.
At this time, we still do not know the suspect's motivation. Clearly, this individual boarded the train and was intent on violence.
More than intent on violence, intent on killing dozens of people. That's why you bring a gun with lots of bullets on it. What's the difference, though, in investigating, and we got Danny Colson back with us as well. What's the difference, John, in investigating somebody who walks onto a train and mugs somebody and kills somebody versus trying to track down someone who has brought a bag of fireworks, gasoline, and dozens of rounds of ammunition and smoke grenades on with the intent to kill multiple people? How does that manhunt differ?
Essentially, they're going to go through many of the same elements in conducting the manhunt. Both of these people are dangerous. The person who commits a mugging can commit another mugging tomorrow. In the case we had today, he attacked multiple people at once. Either case, it's about finding that person, neutralizing the threat by taking that person to custody and holding them accountable so that the public can be just a little bit safer than they were earlier this morning.
Yeah, well, as you point out, what a miracle that no one has died in this attack. Looking at the picture, Frank R. James, 62 years old, person of interest in a shooting, a well-planned shooting. I guess you really should need to call it now an attack in a New York City subway car as it headed into Manhattan. John Iannarelli, formerly of the FBI, we appreciate your time, sir. Thank you very much. When we come, thanks for watching. Click the red subscribe button below so you can get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.